Hey, AP Seminar, and welcome to today's lesson. This is the first of four videos introducing you to arguments. Um, the lesson for the objective for this video specifically is that students will be able to define what an argument is. And we want to make sure that you really focus in on the definition of argument. I know what you're thinking, Mr. Browning. I am a teenager. I know how to get into arguments. I get into arguments all the time. That is not what an argument is specifically for this class. We are going to define this a little bit differently. So I will try to start off most of my lessons by having some key vocabulary. And today's vocabulary is going to be simply argument. So the type of argument that we're focusing on is not the typical I got in an argument with my mom, or I got in an argument with my significant other. That is going to be a verbal fight, per se. And we're not focusing on verbal fights because an argument is just one side of that fight. On TV and on social media, I guess, or in any sort of pop culture, you often see fights between two different parties. Thinking about Twitter wars or something on maybe The Bachelor or some sort of anime you watch, there's constantly some sort of antagonist and protagonist that are going at it. And that's not what we're focusing on either in this class. You think about a group project you might do in a different class or even in this class, and your group just cannot come up with a simple solution and you get into an argument. That's not the argument we're talking about here either. And this last one I just thought was funny. I really like these memes where they're going back and forth about a specific topic. It's a scene from Orange County Choppers, but then they start throwing chairs and they storm out of the room and blah, blah, blah. Not an argument for our sake. So, in our definition, you're telling me what isn't an argument. So, what is an argument, Mr. Browning? So, an argument, for our sake, is going to be any text, whether it is written, spoken, oral, so heard, or visual. And it expresses a point of view. And this point that it expresses a point of view is extremely, extremely important. As you can see here, we have several scenarios in which we have a point of view expressed. So the argument of a parental advisory sticker is going to be that, hey, you should be 18 if you're listening to this, or your parents should give you permission. And that is written on a lot of CDs. I know we don't have CDs, but you know what I mean. Michelle Obama, spoken. She gave a speech about how you can empower yourself with a good education and build a country worthy of your boundless promise. And education is where it starts. That was a spoken argument. And then two visual arguments that expresses a point of view. One, Black Lives Matter. That is a point of view that you are expressing with this image. And a point of view from this cartoon is going to be that COVID-19 will miraculously go away by April. As you can see, Trump is parting the Red Sea of COVID and saying it's going to go away. This is probably written by a right-wing news media, but we are here. I think it's September now, and it has not gone away. So, yeah. So, as we think about arguments expressing a point of view, I want you to take away one key point from this. And that key point is extremely necessary for your understanding of arguments. That is, everything is an argument. And I know what you're saying, not everything is an argument. No, it is, and we're going to go into it a lot over the next couple days. So, what do you mean by everything is an argument, Mr. Browning? Excellent. Let me give you some examples. 1. The argument here that is written on the front page of the New York Times on May 24th, 2020, was that U.S. deaths near 100,000 and incalculable loss. The argument here is COVID-19 is killing a lot of people. And I think the major thing to come out of this is that, like, one, we have talk about 100,000, so that is a lot of people. And also, each one of these bold names, these bold words over here, these are all different names of individuals that were killed by COVID-19. And I think they want to really bring across the fact that it is people that are being killed by COVID. So the New York Times is making this argument that this disease is killing a lot of individuals. Now let's get a little bit lighter, okay? Everything's an argument. The Yankee hat. So the Yankee hat is telling us, 1, you might be a Yankee fan. 2, you might be from New York. 3, you have good style. Just by wearing a Yankee hat, those 3 arguments could be made. The argument by driving a Tesla is, 1, you might be making an argument that you are environmentally conscious, because I don't know how to spell right now. Environmentally conscious. Because it is a green car, it's so electric. But because of that, it is expensive, and it might say something about your status. And last but not least, I put this written argument on here from Neil deGrasse Tyson. When contemplating the cosmos, we don't always know that we don't know. So for me, I yearn to ask questions I don't yet know to ask. So he's saying, like, there might be things that we don't know. He's arguing that there are always things that we don't know. And we might not even know the right questions to ask. So we need to ask them. And the reason I ended here was because I wanted to make sure that these 2 tenets of this class, ask questions and there's always things that we don't know, those 2 things are fresh on your mind as we move forward. So start thinking. Think about the clothes that you're wearing right now. What arguments are being made by the clothing that you're wearing? What arguments are being made by the brands, the images, etc.? And write them down on your paper.